a lot of things in life, come our way and we want to grab at every single thing. We don't get to the most important thing. I say the most important things, but the things that actually matter to us because they seem unattainable, right? They seem too far reaching, right? They seem like we'll get to it when we get to it. We'll take that trip when we have the money, when we have the time, when the kids are at the house, or just before we have kids, we have time, right? The second thing that we covered as well was that a lot of things will take priority. There's always going to be something that's more urgent, always going to be something that's top priority. So it's not up to anyone else but you to say that, screw the rest of this stuff. I'm going to change my priority system and I'm going to give priority to the things that matter most to me. All right. Secondly, and thirdly, is that if we wait for the perfect time, then the perfect time's never going to come. We're never going to get it done, right? Hey everyone, welcome to the RLT podcast where we share some real life tools, tips, and tricks to help you not only discover, but also reach your ultimate goals. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to a fresh episode of the Real Life Tips podcast. This is episode number 56. I'm your host, Mono.
You're joined by Leon as usual. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining in and tuning in. Wherever you are, get comfortable, grab a coffee, grab a seat, and listen in. I'm so happy to be back, and I'm happy because guess what, Mono? This weekend, I am finally taking the Harley to stretch its legs, and I'm actually going to be. I'm carrying the wife there, dude. She's going to be on the back of the bike.
Yeah.
We're going to do 300 kilometers to a place called Clarence in South Africa. Very beautiful, picturesque place. I think I've sent you there with your girlfriend as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, dude, just wish us luck. Like, hopefully everything goes well, but I'm super excited, man. So yeah, I'm happy to be here, but I'm looking forward to the weekend.
Yeah,
man.
dude, that sounds really awesome. You've been wanting to do a trip like this for such a since you got the bike, right? And it sounds like such a cool trip. I'm actually a little bit jealous. Makes me want to go out and buy a Harley as well. But you just got to hope that the weather plays in your favor because
No, man.
I can't imagine being stuck on the back of a bike in a rain or thunderstorm or a hailstorm.
I've got a rain suit, but yeah, you just can't look sexy in those. That's the problem, eh? So yeah, I did have a look at the weather at the moment. South Africa's cooling down a little bit, so it's going to be quite chilly, but it's nice to drive in chilled weather. But yes, you're quite right. If it rains, I'll probably just sleep another night there.
Well, the weekend's coming up. I'm excited as well. I've got some really, really cool plans to go out mountain biking again.
Nice.
So either way,
so we're both on two-wheelers. Mine just has an engine.
We both. Yeah.
Yeah, man. It basically came down to, and it kind of ties in nicely with the topic today, is that, I was putting this off for a long time and I was making excuses not to do it. It's not safe and I'm not like a comfortable driver yet. I'm not a experienced driver yet. And we've only done short trips like 30Ks and so on. And I just decided, you know what? It's not just going to happen. It's not just going to fall out of the sky. I have to make it happen. You have to make that first step and actually get it done. Get it under your belt. Maybe it's the best thing that will ever happen. And, we start doing that recreationally for like an outing thing for us as a couple, and that becomes our little thing. And I've just been making all these excuses not to do it. And most of it trying to self-justify, especially around the security and the safety and those kind of things. And the more I just spoke to other people that do these trips regularly, they're like, dude, just do it. Like, stop talking about it. Stop hovering over it. Stop procrastinating, on the premise of going on a bike trip. It's not that bad, dude. Just get on, drive nice and slow, keep your eyes peeled, be safe. Follow the instructions that you got and you'll be fine. That kind of ties well into today's topic.
It really does. It really does, because today's topic is all about no one's coming. Today we're gonna grab you by your collar. We're gonna shake you around a little bit, and we're gonna tell you to wake up and realize that no one's coming. No, but in all seriousness, I do this to myself, and I have to do this to myself from time to time. Is to really just remind myself that no one is coming to save me. No one is coming to pull me off of the couch, to get into the gym. No one, absolutely no one. And the sooner you realize that, so much reward sits at the other side of that, right? It's because I've gone through this time in and time out. is you get stuck in a situation and you keep waiting for someone to save you
Yes.
from that situation. You keep waiting for the perfect person to come your way to say, come on, Mono, get off the couch, switch off the TV, let's get to the gym and get those
some
goals done. Let's
motivation or
get
something.
exactly right.
Yeah.
But here's the hard reality is that you go through that for quite some time and then you hit the hard realization of nobody's coming.
Yeah.
Nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's coming to pull you off the couch. Nobody's switching off the TV for you. No one's doing your taxes for you. But again, back to your point, no one's coming and telling you that stop it now. It's weekend. Stop working and sacrificing your entire life or dedicating your entire life to your work and get on your bike and just go live life for a little bit. Enjoy it, right? And I'm so happy that we're bringing in this topic. Why? Because in our very last topic that we discussed last week, it was all about enjoying the little things in life, taking time, looking around, not just being super goal oriented, right? But also enjoying life as well. So this absolutely applies to that realm as well.
Yeah, dude, that's exactly right. I completely identify with that. I don't know, maybe everyone does that because I so closely relate to that it feels like maybe this is something everyone struggles with, right? I think everyone's got a to-do list, a have-to-do list, and then everyone's got a list that just kind of sticks there. And it's almost like New Year resolutions. It's those kind of things. It's those things that are major steps towards something that you want to achieve in your life, but you just never ever get to doing them. You never ever put your head down and actually get those things done. And those can, again, apply to every sector in your life. It can be business oriented. It can be personal goals, health goals, goals with your family and friends, spiritual, whatever it might be. So just so many places in our life where I don't know whether it's the challenge that just seems unachievable or unattainable and you just don't want to do the work to get it done. And you kind of unhook yourself from these by saying, yes, but I am busy with important things in my life. I have to keep my work going. I have to put food on the table. I have to do the necessary things. Those are the things I need to pour all my energy into. But by doing that, you keep pushing things to the side that might actually take you leaps and bounds forward in your life. Now, I've had this manager, like one of my first managers ever in my first career. He told me this one very cool analogy, and it kind of applies to this and it doesn't. You have to kind of have a little bit of a colorful mind to see how this ties in, right? But he would say that in a day, say for example, you've got 100 tasks that you need to do. All right, which kind of feels like sometimes it does feel like 100 things.
Yeah.
You have to kind of imagine yourself placing them on a table around you. So imagine in your head now a circular table stretching all around you, and you start placing those tasks, everything within arm's length. Those are the things that you should take on and you should complete them.
Yeah.
Now, what you need to start doing is, by doing that practice, you end up never ever touching those other things, right? They're always going to sit there on the edges of the table. They just never ever become, nothing jolts them into coming front of mind and becoming things that you actually need to do.
Because you're constantly looking at the other things around you and you're
tunnel
constantly
vision.
focused on that. And once that's done, when do you ever get to the least important tasks that need to get done?
Exactly.
Right?
The least important task that might be self-fulfilling, it might be important for various other reasons. I mean, I remember, for example, this is a very close thing to me, and in South Africa, and we've got a culture here of hunting and things like that. And I think for about the last 6 years, I've been threatening getting a weapons license so that I can start hunting with my family recreationally. Every time when it's June here, it's winter time, people go out and they do some hunting. And I've just never, ever gotten myself as far to get that thing. And I promise you, it's like been 6 to 10 years that I've been threatening to get this done. And I finally went to the edge of the table. I've, brought that thing close to me now. And I've started making the steps towards getting the hunting license, all right? And again, I can see how many of our listeners could say, yeah, but why would you want to kill animals? I'm not here to debate that topic right now. It's about the experience that comes with that, and being around your mates and that bonding that you have out in the field and trekking animals and getting in one with nature, and how that cleanses your soul and it makes you calm, and it breaks off all the little chunks of like acid that's stuck to your brain and your body from brutally working through life and murdering every day just to slave away and make a penny to put food on the table.
It's all about enjoying the little things in life, and I agree with that.
Yes.
And I think it's so beautiful that you mentioned, because what you basically said here is that there's a couple of things that happen, right? Is that either we put things off, we don't get things done because they seem unattainable, right? They seem like they're just too far for us to reach. We have to, we'll get to it when we get to it. That's the ideal body weight, that you want to, or body goals or lifestyle that you want to accomplish, right? Or even the bucket list items that we keep putting off year in and year out.
That's a big
You want to travel, you want to see the world. It's number one. It seems unattainable right now. You keep thinking to yourself, okay, I'll get to it one day. There's time. The second thing that you pointed out there, which absolutely I find true as well, is that you always find that other things take priority above everything else, right? There's always something that's more important, something that's more urgent. And so what we do then is we jump straight into the things that are urgent, pressing matters, right? We have to get this birthday party quickly planned, for the kids, get that up and running, get that out the way. As soon as that's out the way, we've got urgent stuff that pops up for work, right? So we have to focus on, we don't have time for us to focus on ourselves, to focus on our own personal goals, to focus on those things that we really want to get done, the things, as you mentioned, that provide fulfillment, right? So those are the two things. I think a third important point there that we need to take into consideration as well is, I don't know if you relate to this, but we always wait for the perfect time. We always wait for the perfect time to get things done, right? So you keep telling yourself that, maybe one day, I don't know, Mono's going to motivate me just enough and I'll get back into the gym. And I use that example because you're in and out of the gym, right?
So right?
You keep waiting for someone to come along and pull you by your collar and say, come on, no, stop it now, let's get this done, right? You keep waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect opportunity for you to plan that trip to go on your second honeymoon or on your anniversary once again, right? You keep waiting for the perfect time, the perfect circumstances, the perfect amount of money in your bank account before you get it done. It's never going to come, right? Don't you feel that plays such a key role within this as well?
Dude, so much so. And I think these things start weighing you down, right? It becomes little pieces of almost like bricks and baggage that you carry with you because you're not fulfilling these extra things in your life that you want to do. I can bring it back to another thing that a lot of people walk around with, and I think, again, this might relate to every single human being on the face of the earth, is you might have a begrudged relationship, right? Somewhere in your life that ended badly. And it might be that you left on a bad foot and there were things that were still up in the air and that wasn't said. Maybe you were wrong, maybe the other person was wrong, etc. But it's now 6 years down the line and you're still waiting for that guy to apologize or that girl to apologize. And you're sitting there every now and again when you're alone and everyone's asleep and, it's at the late night hours. You think back on this and it still hurts. That person's not coming probably. If it's been that long, it might need to be one of two things. Let it go. And let the person go and be free of that weighing you down, or you make that step and re-engage with that person and talk it over and see if there's a potential to fix it. It's not going to necessarily happen from the other person. If it hasn't happened by that time, it's not happening. And it could be that person is waiting exactly like you are waiting. That person was probably also hurt in this excursion or this issue. They might be waiting on you to come and apologize. And maybe when you're in this new frame of mind now, you might see his point better and see, oh, wow, I was actually also wrong. So maybe I do owe an apology. Let's just make up and make friends again. So that's also a very interesting aspect to it as well.
I think one of the other things to that reminds me of as well is how many times have you seen the social media posts, the memes that people post, or even people just updating their statuses saying that, you know what, if you don't contact me, I'm not going to be the first one to reach out anymore. Along those lines, right? And that frustrates me because I used to think like that. But until you realize that no one's coming, nobody's there to, people get busy. We're all adults, right? Life gets busy. We don't always get time to reach out to those closest friends, to our long lost friends and family and everyone all at the same time, right? Because things are always urgent. We're always fending off all of the urgent stuff, right? So I think that also applies to that, is swallowing your pride and saying, no one's coming, in the sense that if I'm going to wait for my best friend from 5 years or for the last 10 years to reach out to me, since I haven't heard from him like in the last 2 months or a year, sometimes that happens, right? If I don't hear anything from him, I'm not going to be the one to reach out. I'm going to hold on to my pride to say that no one's coming, right? If you don't take responsibility for that relationship, if you don't step up and say, hey dude, how you doing, long time no see, let's make a plan. If I'm not going to step up to do that, and he's not going to step up to do that, how's that friendship going to end as well? So I think it's super, super important as well to realize that no one's coming to fix that relationship, right? Whether that's a friend,
part of healing,
a colleague,
man, and it shows. It shows determination as a friend. It shows that you've grown as a person. So in that one gesture of making amends, you might actually be teaching that person how to be a better person himself or herself as well. Absolutely. So that's also kind of paying it forward as far as the whole love language thing goes, and expressing forgiveness and, just being there and saying, listen, this has been on my, back of my mind now for 6 years or 7 years since we fought. And I just want to say, whatever happened, I'm sorry. I'm sure you feel the same way. If you don't, it's fine. I just want to put it to bed now, and I wanted to make that known, and I wanted to put it out. I promise you, you're going to feel lighter on your feet, even if it doesn't go well. And the guy says, listen, I can never forgive you for what happened there. Dude, you're still going to walk away feeling like you did the right thing, and you can now let go of that. And then you can completely let go of it, right? Absolutely. And you'll be free from that baggage.
I feel that even applies to family situations as well, of course. Dude, not just apologizing about something or you're making amends. But I feel like even just staying in contact in general, so many times, I'm sure you face the same thing. It is difficult to get to everyone at the same time. It is difficult to constantly reach out to the parents, to the grandparents, to the cousins, to everyone. It's a constant battle, It's a constant battle, right? And so, to step up from time to time and say that, just because your cousin doesn't contact you, just because your dad, your mom, your uncle, your whoever, your sister, your brother doesn't contact you, it doesn't mean that you can't reach out, right? So I absolutely love that. I think it's a super, super important thing to take into consideration there as well. Another thing that this really does apply to as well is when you think about finances. And in that case, nobody's coming to fix your finances for you, right? Right, Leon?
That's true. Yes, that's unfortunate.
You waited for that day for such a long time. You were waiting for a debt counselor to come and contact and knock on your door and say, hey, Leon, enough's enough, man. We've been monitoring your statements.
Sometimes you're literally just waiting for the, world to just close in on you and take it away.
Yeah.
I've been in financial distress a few times in my life due to my own stupid and bad decisions, right? And it got to a point where I just didn't know where to run from it anymore. And I was just literally waiting for something to happen. Like maybe they will just come and take the stuff back and we can call it quits, And hopefully I won't get a demerit on my credit status or something like that. But, until I realized holy crap, I got myself in this position. I went on a shopping spree and I bought everything I could. And as long as the creditors approved, I just kept on buying stuff. Now I'm in this position. I needed to make things work. Dude, there was a time when I was flogging stuff secondhand on Facebook Marketplace just to make amends. I was, toning down on every single aspect of spending. We went back to cracker bread and stuff at the end of the month, But I took ownership and I overcome that problem in my life and I came out unscathed, luckily. No demerits on credit or anything like that. But the point is that, again, coming back to the topic, that issue was never going to resolve itself. And, if I didn't grapple with it and actually try and make a dent on it or something, it probably would have gotten even freaking worse, to the point of bankruptcy and liquidation and stuff at a later stage. So, it really does come full circle, this topic where the concept of no one or the issue, the resolution. So maybe not just known, but the resolution to the thing that you are grappling with is not just going to come to you. You have to make that step, or at least put the scenarios and the engines and the vehicles in place to help that resolution come to you. So if it's, for example, a marriage that's busy circling the drain, and you know that, okay, we didn't speak tonight again. Oh yes, last night we slept in different beds again, but at least the next morning we shared a coffee and we had an amicable conversation. That's not a healthy marriage anymore. There's so it's not for you to sit there and wait for that person to one day come and say, okay, let's figure this out. If you don't at least start doing that first thing, talking to them, saying, listen, do you think this is a point where we need to maybe start doing some counseling or seeing a therapist or whatever the case
But
might
it's up
be?
to you.
It could literally be in the blink of an eye, you lose it all and that person's gone. So it's literally, I think, applicable to almost anything in life that is like an outstanding issue in your head that is there, but you keep putting life ahead of it, and your daily churn and grindstone stuff that you need to do just keeps taking complete spotlight away from all of these other equally important things, but maybe not necessity stuff. It's not necessary to have those things in order to breathe or anything, but it's bubbles that are literally just inflating and inflating and inflating, and they're going to explode at some point and then make themselves known in a very violent and disruptive way.
So it's like a switch that you flip in your head. That's how I see it, right? And that's how it happened for me.
Yeah, it's an intentional thing. You have to make the choice.
You got to make that choice, Leon. I absolutely love that. And I fully agree with you. And I think it's so important, and it applies to so many things in your life. And I'm so, so glad that you brought that in as well, because thinking about marriages, thinking about waiting for someone to come and save that for you, that's not going to happen, right?
No.
So, Leon, with that being said, I think it is time for us to head into the real life tips for today. Dope, man. I'm loving the new sound effects. Last week,
I'm practicing in the shower. The acoustics there is amazing. I should take the mic to the shower and do the beatboxing from there.
Sounds really cool. I love it, Leon. So we've covered quite a bit here today, right? The base topic being nobody's coming. No one's here to save you. You have to save yourself, right? But out of that, we learned so much, right? And I'm really, really glad that we got to unpack this, right? So we found out that, of course, a lot of things in life come our way, and we want to grab at every single thing. We don't get to the most important thing. I say the most important things, but the things that actually matter to us, because they seem unattainable, right? They seem too far reaching, right? They seem like we'll get to it when we get to it. We'll take that trip when we have the money, when we have the time, when the kids are at the house, or just before we have kids. We have time, right? The second thing that we covered as well was that a lot of things will take priority. There's always going to be something that's more urgent, always going to be something that's top priority. So it's not up to anyone else but you to say that, screw the rest of this stuff. I'm going to change my priority system, and I'm going to give priority to the things that matter most to me. All right. Secondly, and thirdly, is that if we wait for the perfect time, then the perfect time's never going to come. We're never going to get it done, right? If you wait for the perfect time to fix your marriage,
you'll sit in the grave waiting.
Yeah. If you wait for the perfect day, the perfect week for you to start putting an effort to fix your marriage, for you to start putting an effort to fix your debt situation, or for someone to come up to you and start guiding you, right? That the perfect time doesn't exist. And that, I think, is absolutely crucial. So now that we know all of that, Leon, what is your real life tip for us, and how can we go about applying that to our lives every single day?
Yeah, so I really only have one tip again, and it has to do with acknowledgement and mindfulness a little bit. So we all sit at times and think about our life and where we are and what we've done and what's happening right now in our lives, and which areas in our lives are a bit wonky and wishy-washy. And those are actually the times when you need to either take out a notepad or a pen or your tablet or something and start writing down. I still believe, and we've mentioned this 100 times, to write down stuff makes it intentional. You also put it out of you into something else, into an object like a piece of paper, something that you can stick on a wall. But it's to bring those things to the front, right? And there might be many things. That's why you want to write them down. I've got the type of mind, like today I'll be stressed about the relationship that I didn't make amends with 6 years ago. The next day I'll be stressed about not being in contact with my parents enough. The next day I'll be stressed about still not making a dent in a specific area of my budget that I want to sort out. And I end up having these loose, random moments of thinking about these major things, but then they kind of go back into the washing machine straight afterwards, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they just kind of dissolve again, and then they might resurface. And every time they resurface, they're obviously more violent and they're more urgent.
Yeah.
So write your issues down, or the things down that's not going to come and fix themselves, that's pulling you down, that's holding you back.
Yeah.
Put them somewhere, store them safely. It's very personal stuff, so keep them obviously where you can get access to them securely, and start crossing things off, right?
Yeah.
Literally, and this is the second part of the tip, we all busy. We get it. You know, if someone tells me one more time and I ask them, how's your work? And they tell me I'm busy, I want to just die, because that is not necessarily a good thing. All right. You saying that I'm busy at work doesn't mean that's a great thing. You're doing it good. Like, that doesn't mean you're doing a great job necessarily. That just means you are so busy that you can't do other stuff, right? Go and find a way to make space in your life for these things as well. So whether it means, like for me, for example, I wake up about 20 minutes earlier in the mornings, I have some quiet time, try and perform some meditation every now and again, or I read a little bit, gratuity lists, whatever your thing is, but they actually say 12 minutes is enough. That's the minimum effective amount of time. And this has been researched, by the way. Minimum effective amount of self-meditation or something in a day is 12 minutes a day, all right? That's not a lot. You can surely afford that. But you have to remove yourself. You can't do this in your vehicle. You can't do this on the potty before you go to your shower. You can't do this with kids around. You have to isolate yourself, sit with those things in your life and sort them out. So that's basically the tip. Write them down, become intentional, put them in an order of, let's say, importance, in one place where you can look at the whole problem and start crossing them off the list. And to get to that point, make the bloody time. Get 12 minutes at least a day. Sit down with your list, with your gratuity, with your reading, with your prayer, with your meditation, whatever it might be. But make this, let's call it, loose end list in your life a priority, and get those things done.
I love that. That is so cool, because a lot of people think that they can multitask, and we've discussed this, I think, briefly in the past as well, as there is no such thing as multitasking. So as soon as you multitask, you're just doing...
Jugglers must just not drop something, right? They just keep juggling stuff.
But this isn't one of those things that you can just multitask. You got to remove yourself. So I love the fact that you mentioned that. I love the fact that you mentioned it in the morning. Do the morning time, because that really works. I know not for a lot of people, but if you can work in that time, I love that, because then that's out the way. It means that no matter what happens to your day, the important things, the things that matter most to you, are done. And I do that as well. So I love those tips.
There's something powerful about the peace and quiet in the morning.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think from my side, there is just one tip that I want to leave here today. And it speaks almost to the point of saying we're waiting for the perfect time, we're waiting for the perfect circumstances, right? But rather, don't wait for the perfect person, right? And it sounds really weird when I put it like that, right? But don't wait for someone to come along and to give you happiness, i.e. in a relationship, i.e. in any other circumstance, the best friend or whatever the case is. Just because you're not happy being alone, right, doesn't mean that you need someone else to come and give you happiness, right? That speaks to codependence, right? So I guess in essence, my tip is really to say that when fixing yourself, realize that nobody's coming to fix you. Nothing that anybody else does, no other person that steps into your life is supposed to be
happiness
there.
is a solo
journey, Exactly, right? So nobody's coming to bring you happiness. You have to bring happiness yourself, right? Yeah. So being independent in that sense, even if you're in a relationship, and I'm sure you even agree, Leon, you're married, I'm in a relationship, and I still to this day believe strongly that one needs to be happy by themselves before they can be extremely happy in a relationship, right? So finding your
Correct.
own happiness in yourself, saying that nobody's supposed to be there and give you happiness, because what happens if that person gets removed, right? What happens if, God forbid, someone's wife falls ill, or someone's husband falls ill, right? Or they go through a divorce, right? Or what if you're so dependent on a person and you go through a breakup?
And if you can't heal yourself, you can't heal anyone else.
Yeah, but that's the thing, right? So that is my one and only tip, Leon, is to also speak to codependence and independence in that manner, so that nobody's coming to bring you happiness and fulfillment. Leon, I think it was such a great episode here today. I'm really, really glad that this made it onto the list. I think it's been on the list for quite some time, and I'm really glad that we finally got to cover this topic. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this episode, and if you enjoy our other episodes, and maybe if this resonates, and you feel that you would love to write a blog about this, then reach out to us. Please let us know. We are looking for bloggers to assist us in keeping our blogs up to date, to write about their own perspective on our topics, to post it to our website. So if that's something that interests you or someone that you know, please reach out to us. You know where to find us. Just head over to rltstudios.com. All of the details are there. And we're looking forward to seeing you in the very next episode. Until then, this is me signing off, Mono.
This was Leon. Have a rad week. We'll see you on the flippity next week. Same time, same place. Cheers. Bye.
What's up, guys and girls? If you've derived some great value from our show thus far, please take a second to rate and review us on the platform that you're tuned in on. This will really help us to grow the show and reach more and more people, to spread the positivity and change more and more lives. So it will literally just take you a second to rate and review us, and who knows, perhaps you could directly be responsible for changing someone's life today. We look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. Until then, cheers.